Crunch forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Switch advantage has been lost, but this just sets up the perfect opportunity to send out Walrein and commit to the Powder Snow farm down. We know the opponent has Magnezone. However, if they send it back out, the opponent's very quickly going to find himself straight in and straight out. The Earthquake's locked. It's loaded. Get that Magnezone off my screen. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are back at it with yet more Triple Shadow content in the Master League Premier Cup. Someone commented on my last video saying this is essentially Ultra League Premier Cup but more expensive. That comment did make me chuckle, so I thought why not bust out a classic Ultra League team and send it all the way to the Master League. I've maxed all 3 of these Shadow Pokemon out all the way to level 50, spending probably around 2 million dust. The team we're going to be taking a look at is going to be the Triple Water team. We're going to lead in Shadow Swampert. Of course, acting as our anti-electric, Magnezone certainly isn't a myth, as I found out in my last upload. We're going to be utilising Shadow Gyarados with its legacy move of Dragon Tail on the Say Switch, looking to bait out Magnezone, allowing the 3050 CP Walrein to sweep the back line. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we see a pesky fairy in the lead. Not fantastic, although we do have that sludge wave coverage. Speaking of which, the opponent attempts to make a very nice catch, catching the sludge wave onto the Gyarados rocking waterfall. We send out Walrein, we correctly shield up the outrage, and Walrein can now start spamming out these icicle spheres. Despite us being very low on stat product, you can see 2 pretty much knock out. The opponent doesn't commit to an outrage, so this is going to be the easiest no shield of my life. Walrein easily tanks an Aqua Tail. We're going to throw 1 Powder Snow and the Icicle Sphere and go for an Undercharge, looking to get even more farm. We managed to get 1 further Powder Snow, which will allow me to Earthquake Primarina when it returns. Earthquake, gonna hit for neutral, has been nerfed, but the opponent does respect the damage. We do resist the waterfalls, and I am going to commit to the next Earthquake. The opponent actually opts to dump energy, and that is perfect. Disarming Voice does secure the knockout. I send out Swampert. Throw 1 Mud Shot, full send the Sludge Wave. Does the opponent respect the damage? Oh, come on. When are people going to stop shielding my nukes? Gyarados will be completely walled by this annoying Water Fairy, so I'm forced to shield, and I need to land the Sludge Wave again. The opponent tries their luck, and making that catch onto Dragonite. We respond with Gyarados, and we're going to go for an Undercharge. I can't allow Primarina to farm down Gyarados and get a move ready, because Swampert will be losing CMP, so I go for an Undercharge, which is completely necessary, because don't let anyone tell you Swampert can't Mud Shot down a Flyer. We Mud Shot farm down Dragonite, leave with the Sludge Wave, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. The GOAT Shadow Swampert will always do GOAT things. In the next battle, we see a fantastic lead. The opponent Save Switches into Golisopod, and we answer with Gary. This is one of them very rare situations where I'm on the right end of bullying someone with stat product. Gyarados, of course, has a much bigger stat product than Golisopod, and we hit for neutral the entirety of the time. We throw the Crunch, forcing a Protect Shield. I'll be honest, I'm really not that bothered about switch advantage whatsoever, because Walrein, of course, has that Earthquake coverage. So I have used this team previously, before Earthquake was nerfed. It used to one-shot Excadrill. It doesn't quite now, but a few Powder Snows is going to get the job done. We get the opponent into range where we can send out the Walrus and commit to the resisted Powder Snow farm down, getting that big Quake coverage ready. Interestingly, this opponent is running X-Scissor. If they're on Aerial Days, I probably would have tanked both, but this next X-Scissor will get me too low. So we do shield once, and we do leave with the Earthquake. The opponent actually sends out Metagross, ABA Steel, so regardless, we YOLO the Quake, Earthquake, forces the final Protect Shield, and we pivot into Swampert. 2 Hydro Cannons do get the job done. I think the Sludge Wave is mandatory for all the Flyers and Fairies. The opponent doesn't build up to the Earthquake. Thinking I'm a Shadow Pokemon, I'm going to shield a resisted move. Trainer, I'm not, and that is going to be game over. They pivot out into Excadrill. Hydro Cannon doesn't quite one-shot, but we've saved our Protect Shield. We're going to shield up either the Drill Run or the BM Rock Slide. Mud Shot farm down, leave with the Hydro Cannon, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Goodra in the lead. Oof, not fantastic for Swampert. We pivot into Gyarados, and out comes Charm Primarina. Things have gone from bad to worse. We are completely walled here. We fire off the Crunch, fishing for the defense drop, which we don't get. The opponent going to commit to the full tap, charm down, farm down, and leave with residual energy good to go. You can see we do put this thing into Hydro Cannon range, especially with the defense drop, but Swampert isn't going to fancy tanking a potential Moonblast. I was tempted to shield and try and mud shot farm down, but I think I'll just take too much charm damage. So we tank the charge move, and we're just going to look to get rid of him immediately and hope that Walrein can sweep. Hydro Cannon secures the knockout, and I am spamming the switch. The opponent ABA weak to ice. Walrein is just far out stat product by both Pokemon. Let's see if it can get the job done. We're going to shield up the Thunder Punch. You can see the Powder Snows are chunking, but ironically the neutral tackles are doing even more. However, we do outpace this big bear, so we're going to be spamming out Icicle Sphere after Icicle Sphere. The opponent shields the first, we throw the second forces the final Protect Shield. Of course, I'm also going to have to give up my final Protect Shield as well. Walrein does outpace this big bear. If we were on a 5-4 like in the old days, I think we could possibly win this game. I overfarm as much as I physically dare, throw the Icicle Sphere, securing the knockout back out, comes Goodra. We're able to reach the Icicle Sphere, but this isn't going to one-shot. Icicle Sphere gets them down below half health. This is only an Aqua Tail, and I think we might actually survive. I'm hoping we've done enough Powder Snow damage to put them into Hydro Cannon range. We send out Swampert. We all know Hydro Cannon is one of the most busted moves in the game. Is it enough to knock out? No, it's not. The opponent is going to be able to Dragon Breath farm me down, and I am going to concede the match. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see the UFO. Nice to see you nice. The opponent save switches into Waterfall Gary, and I choose this time to answer with my own Gary. And the reason for that is I've seen a team posted, and it'll be Dragonite in the back. So you want that double super effective ice type damage. The opponent doesn't build up to an outrage, throw the crunch, and we get the debuff. I'm not even going to spoil the video, but fuck me, I get debuffed a lot. I am going to shield up the Aqua Tail. We're going to throw another crunch and force the opponent to invest the final Protect Shield, or we maintain alignment. Either way, it's fine for me, because of course Walrein has that Earthquake coverage. We know the opponent doesn't have outrage, we can send in Walrein, commit to the full Powder Snow farm down, and if the UFO wants to return, they're going to get one shot. The opponent throws the crunch, 2 for 2 on debuffs, let's go, but back out comes Magnezone, and undeterred, we're going to fire off the Earthquake. Get that Magnezone off my screen. The opponent, of course, does have Dragonite in the back. I'm going to reset my debuff, pivot out into Swampert. Dragon Claw isn't going to get the job done. We're going to survive the damage, throw the Sludge Wave, going to land for some decent neutral damage, doing around 50% of their HP. The opponent is going to be able to Dragon Breath farm down. Win con for them is going to be to Dragon Breath farm down Walrein. Despite them getting the debuff earlier, that isn't going to happen. We're going to reach the Icicle Sphere. I'm going to take that game. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see Rhyperior in the lead. Fantastic for Swampert. The opponent save switches into Annihilape, and I answer with Gyarados. If the opponent lands a Shadow Ball on Shadow Gyarados, this matchup gets so dicey. So I respect the damage and of course get baited. Fantastic. Let's all bait Shadow Pokemon. We throw the Aqua Tail, forcing a Protect Shield in return. The opponent then throws an alignment, and that means switch advantage cannot be lost. We correctly shield up the Shadow Ball. We're then going to throw 3 Dragon Tails, keeping as much health on Gyarados as physically possible, because the opponent's going to have a very tough time of Mud Slap farming me down. Aqua Tail secures the knockout, and it's always wrong to assume. I assume they'd be on Mud Slap, but they're on Smackdown. So I suppose I'm glad I've kept switch advantage. Walrein would get destroyed here. We force a protection with the Aqua Tail. Unfortunately, we don't reach the next one. We're now going to send out Swampert. What they're going to throw? Surf, Superpower. They throw the Superpower, and we're going to pivot instantly. Imagining the opponent wants to reset their debuff, and they do. Walrein Gyarados, pretty neutral. We'll actually win this in the Zero Shield, as long as the opponent doesn't debuff us with the crunch. Moment of truth, do they debuff us? Of course they do, which is going to mean Walrein isn't going to be able to get off enough Powder Snow damage to Powder Snow farm them down. Instead, we're going to get Dragon Breath farm down, which is absolutely brutal. We can't Mudshot farm down Gyarados, and we're going to take a heartbreaking loss. I suppose we're going to say GG's to that opponent and fuck you RNG. Heading into the next battle, we see Swampert into Togekiss. Oh god, I hate this Pokemon. It is so bulky. One Sludge Wave comes nowhere near one-shotting, so I'm just going to go straight Hydro Cannon. We throw 10 Mud Shots for optimal fast move timing. So 2 turn into 3 turn. You want to throw at 1, 4, 7 or 10. We land the next Hydro Cannon. We then pivot into Gyarados. The opponent banks all their energy and send out Excadrill. Trainer, that is a very interesting counter swap. We throw the Aqua Tail lands, doing ridiculous damage. The Aqua Tail buff coming in clutch. We can now tank the Rock Slide like an absolute champ, and we're going to resist it. Dragon Tail farm down and leave with a charge move. I'm so low. I'm just going to spam the Aqua Tail at whatever comes in. The opponent sends out Rhyperior. This one is actually running Mud Slap. I'm going to send out Swampert. I'm thinking, should I just sack it? We can shield this up and look to get off a Hydro Cannon. The opponent goes for a very heads-up play, trying to go for the Wham Bam combo play. But if they throw an Ancient Power, which they do, it isn't going to knock out. We Mod Shot farm down Togekiss, bank the Hydro Cannon and send out Walrein. Walrein, of course, not too bad into this matchup. We're hitting the super effective the entirety of the time, although we do have to be fearful of a potential Rock Wrecker. However, as I've got the Hydro Cannon banked, we look to call the bait. The opponent tries their luck at baiting. We're going to save one shield for next season, throw the Icicle Sphere, Powder Snow farm down, and take that game. In the next battle, we see Swampert into the Mole, beautiful lead. The opponent safe switch into Golisopod. Of course, they're going to need anti-fighters, and we answer with Gyarados. Much like when we saw this combination earlier, we're not going to shield Gyarados whatsoever and just look to take shield advantage or switch in the zero shields. We tank the Aerial Ace, throw the Crunch. This time, we get the defense drop, RNG, finally in my favour. I could take the opponent out with this Aqua Tail, but instead I'm going to force the opponent to throw and once again look to Powder Snow farm down. I was thinking with a defense drop I should be able to send out Walrein, get a huge energy lead and not have to tank 2 charge moves. Let's see if that's possible. Of course, Ice is resisted by the water typing. We're going to tank the first move and hopefully 5 Powder Snows for me to knock out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, come on. At this stage, I wish I would have just took out this stupid Golisopod. Although, to be honest, the ice and ground coverage is very rarely resisted by anything. Golisopod, of course, is something that can resist both. We've already seen that on the battlefield. Out comes Excadrill. We full send the Earthquake. Near one shots. We're then going to bank the Icicle Sphere, pivot into Swampert. I imagine it's Dragonite in the back, so we're still in a good spot. The opponent throws the Drill Run, and unfortunately it's Gyarados. But regardless, this still isn't too bad. The opponent still has 1 Protect Shield. Where are they going to spend it? Sludge Wave actually does more than Icicle Sphere, so I'm glad I landed that one. It's now going to be a race to 2 moves. We're going to respect the move, hoping the opponent doesn't Aqua Tail bait me. They throw the Crunch. Walrein can now outpace to the double Icicle Sphere. You know the drill. The first one will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield, and the second one will be knocking this Gyarados out the sky. I think maybe 1 or 2 Powder Snows is going to be enough to take care of Excadrill, and we're going to take that game. I think if you can pick up anything from that battle, sometimes you don't need to get fancy, just take out a Pokemon and keep alignment. In the next battle again, we see Primarina in the lead. Of course, we need to land the Sludge Wave. The opponent continues to stay in, and we're going to full send it. Does the opponent respect the damage? I don't even know why I say that anymore, as everyone shields. I think if I ever become a popular content creator, I'm going to start baiting everyone, as everyone's going to think I'm going to full send the nukes. Again, we're going to full send the Sludge Wave. Can we sneak it through? No, we can't. We find ourselves in a very tricky spot. We have got shield advantage, but we've got no real way of getting rid of that Primarina. The opponent sends out Annihilape. I've got no intention of shielding up Gary. We can survive a Shadow Ball. The opponent actually bait with the Ice Punch. That works for me. I'm going to throw 1 Dragon Tail and the Aqua Tail for optimal fast move timing. This isn't enough for a Shadow Ball, so it's either a Night Slash or an Ice Punch. I think Shadow Ball's mandatory, so it's likely the Ice Punch. We managed to get the Dragon Tail farm down, leaving minimal farm for Primarina, and we leave with a charge move. Back out comes Primarina. Please give me the defense drop. We throw the Crunch, not getting the defense drop. I think if we got the defense drop there, I could probably go Icicle Sphere in this matchup. Of course, I'm forced to shield this move out. The opponent throws the Disarming Voice. We're then going to overfarm, throw an at good time and a full send the Earthquake. Show me a dragon in the back. Please show me a dragon. The opponent's final Pokemon is Skeledirge or Dirge. We're going to throw 7 Powder Snows and the Earthquake. Earthquake doesn't get the same type attack bonus and it's been nerfed. It doesn't do enough damage and unfortunately we are going to lose this matchup. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle. Swampert Gyarados. It's a no thank you from me. We're going to save switch into our own Gary. The opponent is staying in and we're getting off a lot of chip damage with the Dragon Tails. The opponent throws the Crunch. The opponent then pivots out into Snorlax. I'm going to throw my own Crunch. Once again, fishing for that debuff. Crunch lands. We don't get a debuff, but we can reach the Aqua Tail on the CMP tie. The opponent plays the CMP tie. They do not win. And now we're sitting in a pretty good spot. I'm just going to completely sack Gary and look to Mud Shot farm down Snorlax. Of course, a debuff would have been helpful, as it would make the Mud Shot farm down easier. I think this video is a prime example of why I think Quagman is so much better than Wish Daddy Cash. Because you can see a lot of these matchups we've played out today have been determined by debuffs, etc. Wishcash heavily relies upon getting Scald debuffs, whereas Quagmire is just the GOAT with good energy management. Back out comes Gyarados, we full send the Sludge Wave, near one-shots, we pivot into Walrein, and out comes Rhyperior. We're in for super effective the entirety of the time, but the stat product difference is ridiculous. With the switch, I throw out really poor timing, however after this I'm going to look to throw out 1, 4 or 7 and make amends for that potato play. We again find ourselves in a situation where the RNG gods might determine the outcome of this video. Of course, the opponent isn't going to rock wrecker, they're just going to spam out breaking swipes and fish for debuffs. The opponent throws 2 breaking swipes, they don't get a debuff either time. This Icicle Sphere is going to land for a lot of damage. Switch timer pops, so I pivot out into Swampert. The opponent sends out Gyarados, which we needed to get rid of. Hydro Cannon secures the knockout. We're going to Mudshot farm down Rhyperior and take that game. In the next battle, we see the UFO. This opponent opts to stay in and then pivot out into Golisopod. Again, we answer with Gyarados, and let's see if this time I play it differently or we're going to look to Earthquake Magnezone. I'll be honest, I don't even know why I asked that question. We all know I love to send nukes, so without a doubt, I'm probably going to lose Switch and try and Earthquake Magnezone. The opponent gives me an early shield advantage. We get the defense drop. This time I opt to throw the Aqua Tail. However, the opponent does outpace me. Unlike the last battle, this time I am going to throw a charge move, either forcing the final shield or just maintaining that alignment. The opponent gives me that final protect shield, and you already know we're going to Earthquake that UFO. We send out Walrein, and Walrein is smelling blood. Even though the opponent's in the red, we've already seen previously that it looks like we can farm down before 2 moves. However, we can't. But I'm happy to shield once, and all the farm in the world is very nice. The opponent actually go for the wham bam combo play, send it out Magnezone. The opponent baits with the mirror shot, getting the attack drop, but trainer, no attack drop. We'll be saving your fate. The Earthquake's locked, it's loaded. Get that Magnezone off my screen. Out comes Excadrill. We're going to look to catch a Rock Slide onto Swampert for no reason whatsoever. The opponent actually throw the drill run, but regardless, this game's over. Swampert is easily going to one-shot Excadrill from this range. And that's pretty much going to be all she wrote. Golisopod is alive. We're going to hit the Hydro Cannon, hit no bubbles, and we're going to take that game. GG's to that opponent. Interestingly enough, that is the second ABA Steel team I've seen. I think it's time to bust out my Legacy Stone Edge Shadow Machamp. In the next battle, we see Rhyperior in the lead. The opponent save switches into Primarina. And we're going to full send. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. The opponent fucked about. They found out. We then send out Gyarados. Gyarados gets the resisted Dragon Tail farm down, and they send out their own Gyarados. This game is already a big fat G to the G. We fire off the crunch. The RNG gods are saying sorry for earlier. We noticed you were getting very bad luck. You can now have all the luck in the world. We get the most unnecessary crunch debuff. We fire off the Aqua Tail. Surely the opponent shields Gary. Nope, they're putting it all on Rhyperior. Perhaps the opponent thinks with an energy lead they can beat Swampert. However, I'm so sorry, trainer. We've also got an ice type. As I got a huge amount of luck in this battle, we're going to give the opponent a chance. Trainer, if you rock wrecker, you potentially can win this game. However, the opponent doesn't play to their win con. They throw their break-in swipe, and now there is going to be no mercy. Walrein is going to be able to force the final protect shield with this next Icicle Sphere. We're then going to pivot out into 2 shield Swampert. We're going to reach the Hydro Cannon, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, Swampert into Gyarados. Oof, we're going to pivot into the mirror. This opponent is on Waterfall. Perhaps this is a triple flyer team. The opponent actually save switch into Florges. Last time we had MLP, like 5 or 6 seasons ago, if you saw a Gyarados lead, it was likely triple flyer with Dragonite and Togekiss. However, recently we've had, is it Florret, whatever this mini version of Florges is called, has been spawning, so a lot more people have access to it. And a pretty good core, if you like some BBML meta, is Gyarados and Florges. The opponent throws at a very nice time in 1 turn before the next Aqua Tail. Disarming Voice does secure the knockout. I'm going to send out Swampert. I'm thinking, can I Mudshot farm this thing down? Probably not, but it would be nice. Swampert energy is pretty universally useful. The opponent falls to the Moonblast and ouch, that hurts. We then bank 100 energy. I'll be honest, I should have banked 99 and got 2 Powder Snows, but it is what it is. The opponent send back out Gyarados. This isn't enough for an outrage. This can only be a crunch. However, as I said, we get debuffed so much in this video. Watching these back, I cannot believe how much this meta is defined by RNG. It is ridiculous. I think a fun update for GBL would just be no debuffs whatsoever. Then trainers would have to rely upon good energy management to win battles. Very unpopular opinion, but I think that'd be fun, even if we had it for like a week or something. I'd love to see Ultra League without Icy Wind, Scald and Crunch debuffs. But then on the flip side, perhaps that would just make Giratina too OP. However, we got distracted. I managed to use all that banked energy on Swampert. Snipe Gyarados with the Sludge Wave. The opponent's third is Togekiss. Is this winnable? We land the Hydro Cannon. We reach the Icicle Sphere. This hits for super effective. Is it enough to knock out? Oof. No, it isn't. Pretty close game, and GG's to that opponent. Heading into the final battle of the video, we see Swampert into Florges. We've seen a Moonblast, near one-shots us. However, we've also seen me get baited far too much in this video. So I'm going to pull out my man card and call the bait with my huge cojones. The opponent throws the Disarming Voice, and that is going to allow us to outpace the back-to-back Hydro Cannons. They're straight 5s to the charge move, and we're 5-4. The first Hydro Cannon lands, the second also lands, and we're going to pivot into Gary to catch the Disarming Voice. The opponent likely pivot as they're just going to get resisted or double resisted Dragon Tail Farm down. We draw out Dragonite. This isn't the best answer. The opponent is going to be forced to throw or tank the crunch. The opponent smartly throws. And what I think is interesting is the lack of alignment I've had. I haven't been able to get Walrein onto any dragons whatsoever. To be honest, we haven't actually seen that many dragons today. Walrein, though, going to be pretty good against Dragonite. I'm going to respect the superpower, which the opponent lightly throws, looking to give us less farm. We then get the full Powder Snow farm down. We are at shield disadvantage, and out comes Excadrill. We pause a turn, full send the Earthquake. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Walrein gets its big boom. Powder Snow farms down, and we're going to take that game. So that is going to draw to a close today's showcase. Showcasing a team that we more commonly see in the Ultra League. I definitely think this team is very viable in the Master League. It did take me to a season high. I think we're just shy of like 2,700 ELO currently. One point to note is both Swampert and Walrein are insanely glassy, and RNG does play a big factor. If you get debuffed, then good matchups become quite poor. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.